here we are. Woo. Oh, no, it's a reminder. Okay.
Oh, don't.
It's about
Okay, that should be
begin.
running. Welcome to live chat. Well, I've got the live chat pop up. Well, it's exactly why I didn't post the Twitch link everywhere. Yeah. So this is the Guilded app. I don't know. You said you hadn't used it before. I was going to do this in Discord, but I don't know if you can do 2 webcams. I don't know.
Got it.
So I thought I'd try this.
Yeah, you can. I think. Yeah, you can. You definitely can. But it's a bit of a pain because it's always sort of in and out. I think with Discord, it's not like the best quality, is it? I'm trying to find the way of sharing it.
Hold on, I shall try and do the same.
Is there a share link?
Yeah. See?
Why am I getting so confused? I can normally see it. Oh, here it is. Sorry,
I do this all the time, and I don't know where stuff is.
Get there eventually, right?
Literally the point of my channel, and I'm like, where's that share button? Okay. Where is the? I can't bloody find it now. Content. Live. Oh yeah. I'll share it in Discord anyway. I'm having to use
it's absolutely manic on Follow Friday, doesn't it?
Yeah,
my notifications are going mental.
I know it sounds bad, but it's a little bit annoying. I mean, I don't generally do Follow Friday. I don't actually do them ever. I don't know why. I don't know if I don't see the point. I mean, it's cool if people are recommending some accounts you may not have known before. It's handy, but my Twitter's so busy anyway. I don't have time to go through all the accounts anyway. If I'm honest.
No, I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I have an app that does it for me. So I used to sort of be a bit on and off with doing the Follow Fridays because of how long and how much effort it took to do it.
Exactly. And then you think, oh, what if I missed someone?
I don't need to worry. Exactly. But it does it itself now. So I'm like, perfect.
I like that.
Just go on top fans or something like that, and it just automatically creates that circle.
Oh, that's what that is. Yeah.
Yeah, it just does it for you. It's great. It's just like a little mobile app.
I might have to do that.
I was like, yeah, perfect. That's all I do is I literally see all like the notifications from random people coming in and go, bing, bing, it's done. And I'm like,
yeah, I like that. That's good.
Done for Friday.
Yeah, I suppose
I never get any work done.
No, well, I know. That's the problem with Twitter. I get just swamped in notifications, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I get DMs, and I just lose track. I don't know. But yeah, so all we're going to be going over, I'm just going to do the I don't want to get it too monotonous of, so tell me your story, because I know everybody's going to ask you that. So I'm going to ask you where you've come from development wise. I even wrote, look at this. This doesn't happen often. Look at that. Notes.
Very nice.
I know. Problem is I'm having to use the crappy webcam because my nice camera is connected to my streaming PC. Not.
I've just got the webcam that comes with a laptop, mate. To be honest, so and this with ambient lighting.
Whoa! Look at that bad boy. Looks like a prop from a film, doesn't it? Look at that.
It's like super cheap. It's awesome. I'm really chuffed with it, actually. I only bought it just for podcasts because I did one podcast and it was on my mobile and it was terrible. And the thing is, like, I just think they didn't realise how terrible it was until they uploaded it to YouTube, and I was like, I can't even hear me.
Yeah.
So I thought I have to shell out for one.
You're better off having a crappy camera because people won't care about that. As soon as your audio's awful, they're just off. Don't care. So
yeah, completely.
Yeah. Which is why I've got mics all over the place. Mic here, mic there, mic. I'll keep buying new ones. So, oh my god.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like 30 odd quid, so I'm done now.
That's it.
And it sold me on the fact that it had lights on the side.
That's what
I was like, oh, nice. It's got lights. I'll take it.
Perfect for you. So make sure I've turned all the volume off from there because I forgot about that. Because that'll come through the podcast otherwise. Although, if we're recording in Audacity, I don't need to turn any sounds off. But Do I? Because Audacity won't be picking up the game sounds.
I'll just agree. Yeah.
Audio.
Yeah, I know that.
Whoever invented audio needs to be shot. In general, just in general. Okay. So that is. Holy crap. Whoa. Holy crap. God. That's too loud. Just ambient noise.
Is it weird if you like the stream that you're actually in? Or is that not
No,
weird?
I like all my YouTube videos I like. Because it gets one like and they don't care. As long as it's an account liking it, they don't care.
Every single Twitter post is liked by myself.
Yeah, I'm the first to retweet my own tweets.
Exactly. But if you retweet it, you can untweet it and retweet it.
Does it send it back out again?
For more people. Yeah.
No, you shouldn't have done that. Why have you told me that?
I know. I was reading this article and it said about you should send your tweet out, and then what you should do is then wait like a good 3 or 4 hours for other people that might not have seen it, then retweet it. But then you can actually then just untweet it and retweet it again as many times as you want.
Love it. You better mute me now on Twitter. You're gonna be getting all the notifications. That's amazing. Because I saw you could untweet it, and I thought, oh, it's obviously not doing anything. So a few times I've probably spammed my own retweet because I thought, what's that doing? Nothing. Okay, it's just spamming my own feed. All right, cool. Okay, we have the chat. If anyone wants to chat, then they can do that. Like I said, it's difficult. I'm trying not to point to anything visual. I'll try and keep it just audio if possible. But this is probably just a bit more interesting than, because I have uploaded the podcast just as audio before on YouTube, just so people can listen. Because some people listen to podcasts on YouTube. Why are you doing that?
Yeah, do you know what? I like the idea of a podcast when there's visuals to go with it. Like, I like that. And I don't know what it is, but podcasts, right? Like, so I got, I think 6 months of Audible, and I was like, oh, brilliant, really excited for Audible. And I did get a game development book, which is really good. Like, don't get me wrong, but I'm kind of I kind of don't know what to do with myself when I'm just sat still looking a bit like a weirdo with some earphones in. I'm kind of like, well, what do I do though? Like, I can't do anything with my hands, and I'm like, when do you listen to an audiobook? And then I'm in bed and I'm thinking I listen to an audiobook, and then I'm asleep, and I'm like, okay, well, that didn't work. So the only kind of time I've worked out is when you're in the car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's kind of as close I can get. Otherwise, it just feels weird.
Well, but then if it's got visuals with it, then it's not really a podcast anymore, is it? It's just a show.
Well, no, it's not. Then it's a video, isn't it?
It's just a video.
It's very complicated.
I know. Yeah. I mean, I
like videos.
Audible is amazing. I've been a subscriber for about 5 years now.
Okay.
Constantly, I just absolutely hammer it. So I love it.
I haven't got through the first book yet, to be honest.
Haven't you?
But it's on my agenda.
Oh, I'm listening to a 24-hour book at the minute. Listening time.
Oh, this one's like 6 or 7 hours long, so I've just not got through it. It's
6 or 7 hours.
But,
amazing. Yeah. Right. Okay. I'll retweet your tweet.
Alrighty. Yeah.
Can I look at that?
It'd be really good if I could just get this a bit closer, but there's like no zoom in button.
No, that's fine.
So it's like, I don't know, it's a bit annoying.
It's like this cheapy camera, the lights are horrendous. I can't get any lighting, got no controls. I hate it. But it's fine. We're recording. It's for audio purposes only, mainly. So that's cool. Okay, so let me... yeah, I'll just try not to be distracting, and I'll casually sort of play the game in the background just for some visuals.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's make a start. I'll do an intro to everything on the audio anyway, so we can just crack on. And you actually forget that we're actually live now. I do forget that quite often.
Yeah, I know. We're just having a chit chat.
Yeah, I know. If you're watching this, then sorry about that.
People did appear and then they've gone now. So.
Yeah. What the hell's going on here?
It was like they're not even talking about it.
Right.
Oh. Yeah.
Let's begin.
Okay, good. Let's do this.
Okay, so this is season 2, episode 2. I actually forgot. It's been so long since I've recorded a podcast. For I don't know what. I haven't got a reason. I was gonna give you a fancier reason, but it's just because lazy/busy. Let's go busy. I'm really busy. That's why. But it's a brilliant time to bring the podcast back because we've been trying to. I say me, the royal we. I've been trying to organise with today's guest to get on the show for. I reckon it's probably 6 months. I reckon.
Not well.
Yeah. This is James. Welcome, James. Hello. Welcome to the show.
Ooh.
And you are the sole developer. You officially sole developer.
Yeah. Kind of say sort of. So Monster Finger Games officially is 2 people, me and Stu.
Mhm.
Stu does the majority of what he does is the music. Has done a little bit of some of the work on some of the earlier levels of Alien Scumbags here and there, but he don't get involved in the actual development side as such. So I just call myself the lead developer. Is probably the easiest way of putting it.
King developer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. Okay.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
So yeah, your studio is Monster Finger Games, and the game we're going to be talking about today is Alien Scumbags.
Yes, indeed.
Now, we are actually live streaming this podcast today. So if you are, so we're on YouTube live streaming it, but we're going to try not to point to stuff on the screen because it's no good if you're listening. So we will try. So apologies if we do that. But if you're watching, then I'm going to be playing the game very casually in the background, just so you can see what we're talking about. And this will be available, of course, after the fact. If anybody listening wants to check out the game, the visuals, or my or James's beautiful faces.
Hey.
Right, so let's make a start. So let's start off with Alien Scumbags. Just tell us what Alien Scumbags is and what type of game it is. Just an overview of the game before we go into the history of everything.
So short and sweet. Imagine it's like a menage a trois, right? With
where this is going.
With Doom. No, it's good. This right? It's Doom, Duke Nukem, and Alien 3 on the SNES.
Ooh,
there it is. The
nice.
baby is Alien Scumbags.
So this is it's a very unique game. It's very violent.
Yes.
It's very rude, but awesome rude. Like 12-year-old rude. Like if you're 12, this is amazing. You're gonna laugh your ass off. It's brilliant. Or if you're 40 like me, you still do that, but don't worry about that. So
I think it's funny.
Yeah, it's very funny. There's loads of puns. There's loads of jokes. There's funny visuals. Awesome setup you've got going. So, okay, what engine is this running on? Which game engine did you build it on?
So it's on ClickTeam Fusion 2.5. You'll probably know that one more as the engine that runs Five Nights at Freddy's and Freedom Planet, amongst other things.
Okay, I don't know that, but I'm sure people listening will know that. Yeah, that's not an engine I've heard a lot of, to be honest. Yeah. It's not one that I've heard mentioned an awful lot of.
It's actually one of the originators, to be honest. They came out in sort of the mid-90s.
Oh, really?
To start with.
Okay. So why choose this engine over some of the more, I was going to say obvious ones, but they're obvious to me because I don't know all the engines. So for me, this is not an engine I would have picked out of the hat. So why did you pick this one?
I kind of fell into it, to be honest. So what happened is I was on work experience. I was probably about 15, and I was in some office or something like that where I was working, and then we found one of these 300-in-1 utility discs, from the olden days, and and so I was like, "Can I have a look on this?" Because it was one of my final days there, and they was like, "Yeah, sure." And I came across this thing called Click and Play, and I thought, "I'll give this a go, see what it's like." And I was awful at it, obviously, but then my eyes was just opened to the world of game development, albeit rubbish game development at the time. Couldn't even make the screen scroll. And then that's kind of like the rest is history, really. I mean, I said to them, "Do you mind if I take it home, put it on my computer?" And then lots and lots and lots of hours later, I've just been stuck in my room on a PC. This is where I am now. So I've kind of followed the Click Team products all the way from that one, all the way to what they are at now, which is obviously Click Team Fusion 2.5.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it. That's the reason. I could try something else, and I did sort of dabble in the idea of Blitz Basic. Didn't really enjoy it, if I'm honest. I quite like the idea of a more visual based thing. I also worked with the original Game Maker before it was Game Maker Studio.
Okay, yeah.
And so I used that as well, and I made like a couple of games on that. And then I also had a play around with Construct and made a few projects in that as well. So I've used some other ones, but the main one for me was just the one I started with.
Okay, so did you really? I want to know like the story of how did you choose to become a developer? Is it something you really wanted to do, or is it because, like you said, you played around with that disc and thought, "I'll just see what I can make," and it just sort of naturally grew, or did you just think, "Do you know what? I'm going to make a game, and this is the game I want to make." How did that? I'm always interested in how that sort of story develops from nothing.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Well, I've always been into art as a kid, and I always was into computers at the same time. So I actually used to draw like the idea of games, like what they would look like as screenshots on pieces of paper as a kid, and everything like doing a little racing game with a speedo on the side and stuff like that. And I started out with an Atari 2600 Junior, so like I'd always been into games right from the beginning, and we had like a Spectrum, and we had all these different consoles. And so I think it was inevitable that at some point I was either going to do it like possibly professionally or otherwise. And as I say, once I got involved in that, I was like, this is brilliant. And I didn't particularly believe in myself for a long, long time. And it was only when we started, just before sort of Monsterfinger games and stuff like that, when I just thought, you know what, I'm not bothered what people think. I'm just going to get on with it, just do it. And it's I would say I've definitely gone places since, just sort of believing in myself a lot more. I think, albeit there's still my mental issues with anxiety and depression and whatnot to deal with. So that's sometimes a bit of a constant struggle when you're making games, because you've always got this thing in your head saying, "Oh, you're not good enough" or whatever, But you just have to fight through it.
But do you know what? It's actually, I wonder on the scale of issues that you might have during development, how much the mental side of a percentage of the issues that you're going to have. I would expect the mental side of it is a huge part for a lot of people, because you are generally, if you're an indie developer, you are generally on your own a lot, like because you're busy making the game, so you don't have someone else to bounce ideas off, or you might have some people online you can chat to, but it's not quite the same as having a face-to-face discussion with somebody. So you're trying to sort of argue with yourself. This is great. Nah, I don't know if this is perfect. So and then you're doubting yourself, and it must be very, very difficult. I've never really thought about the sort of mental side of it before, and you are.
It can be,
yeah.
I mean, specifically, like, so I've gotten to the point where we're now making the final boss for Alien Scumbags, and because it's had like a really good reception so far from so many people, it's almost like it's built up the pressure that if I don't get the final boss right, it's almost like I've just ruined the whole climax of the game. And so for days and days on end, I've been like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And like, whereas right at the beginning, I'd already drawn the final boss out, right at the beginning of development, sort of thing, and was like, I know exactly what it's going to look like and everything. But then as time's gone on, I've just been like, yeah, but I'm just worried it's not going to be good enough. And so it's taken ages and ages to sort of think something worthwhile up. And I just sort of just jumped at it and started. And then I know that once I start it, it's all right, because then I just sort of tweak things, and eventually it comes to, be a finished product. But it's the point of jumping in, basically.
So where did the idea for the game come from specifically? Was it something that, again, like, that's just developed, or did you have the exact idea for this game?
No, I didn't have a clue. If I'm
Right. Okay. Yeah.
honest.
Segment over. Okay.
Yeah, I'm done. No, so I'd never done a game jam before, and there was a Fusion Wars game jam, and I think it was pretty much just it needs to be. I think it was like it has to do with sci-fi basically. So I was like, brilliant. And I was just getting into horror films at that time, and I'd probably been into them for about a year, maybe. And so it was such a big new thing for me, and I'd been watching things like the Alien film and all that kind of thing. And I was so massively into sci-fi horrors
Hmm.
that the first thing I thought when I thought of sci-fi, I was like, oh, I've got to do Aliens. And literally the first name that came to my mind, because I was like, well, I can't call it Aliens. So I just called it Alien Scumbags. And I was like, well, yeah, I like that. I'll keep that. And that was it. It's just the first idea that popped in my head. Happens to be the name of the game. And
Wow.
originally it was, yeah, I was amazed. I was like, this is a brilliant name. And yeah, so it was, that's how it started. And it was more an Alien fan game than anything. So even like the big beastie aliens, there was actually xenomorphs to start with.
Okay.
Yeah, and it looks very different back in the old days. Well, you saw it yourself how different it looked.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
old
You
days.
shared. Yeah, that's interesting to see, actually.
Yeah.
And and
Everything was, yeah.
well, I wonder, because some developers are, again, a little bit scared of sharing. Well, I understand why, sharing their previous incarnations of the game, because they don't want to make it look like they didn't know what they were doing. But that's kind of the appeal of indie games to me. I love seeing the first stages.
Well, it's the people, isn't it? You know, it's. I think that's why people love indie games so much, and that's personally why I love indie games so much
Mhm.
as well. I'm not just a person that makes them. I also don't particularly like the AAA industry at all. Um, like I hardly have any games that are classed as AAA. You know, every month I'll look on the PlayStation Store or now Steam. Now I've got a good laptop. For indie stuff because
Yeah.
I want to support indie people, and I like the fact that these are people like me that just have an idea in their head and just jump at it and go for it. You
Yeah,
know,
absolutely.
and I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, because I think indie is sometimes seen as a genre of games, and it really isn't. I know it gets tagged as indie, but it really is a community of people, isn't it? I hate the word movement, but it's that kind of thing. It's a way of experience games for me. The indie scene, I love it. Like I said, the people are brilliant. The community of indie people is amazing. It's so helpful and supportive on anything you do. There's hardly any negativity that I see. I don't really see any.
Well, I don't, to be honest. It's fantastic. I absolutely love the indie scene, and it's great to be part of it. To be honest,
Yeah.
I mean, I started being part of the indie scene with the Ouya, so and that was such a unique sort of community because everyone who had bought one was playing the games but also developing as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
So you kind of had that in that such a close relationship with everybody because everyone who had a Ouya was interested in the idea of people developing games so they could play them as well.
Yeah. Please make some
So
games.
you'd always just chat, you know.
Yeah. I've got one in the cupboard somewhere. I don't think I've ever even turned it on, but I've got one.
You know what? You might have played a Monster Finger Games game. You never know.
That's it. So, what about issues? What do you have a major hurdle or a problem that you've had to face during the game? Is there something that sort of nearly stopped you developing, or the main issues that you've had? Anything negative?
Yeah, I mean, certainly on this game, burnout has been a difficult thing. And I think
Okay.
it's the same for pretty much any indie developer. So I've come to realize that the most important thing to think about when it comes to development is to take a piece at a time. If you because it's difficult because as soon as you get an idea in your head, it's like, wow, I've got to get this idea out there. I've got to get it in front of my face so I can see if it's exactly the same as it is in my head. Um, and the moment I get to that point, like I used to spend like 5 or 6 hours solid, just like, oh my God, this is brilliant. And it's so exciting. But then the next day you're gone, you're knackered, you know, and you've instantly burnt yourself out. And so I try to sort of limit myself to how much time I spend now on development and just do a little bit per day, or like a couple of hours here or a few hours there. But certainly I wouldn't spend a whole day on it anymore. And I
Okay.
think that's the thing that I had the most issue with back, before.
That's interesting. So you set yourself a schedule to work by now, and do you plan ahead of time? Okay, on Monday, Tuesday, I'm going to work on these two things for 4 hours each, and that is it. Is that how you do it now? Literally that strict?
Not really, not strict as that. No. So I basically say that Monday to Friday, I'll try to put a good couple of hours or so in every night. So almost like a part-time job, really, after my normal job. And then I always have the weekend off.
Okay.
I might sometimes dabble around with it on Sunday night, but I try my best to try and keep weekends free, just to sort of chill.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
then the other thing is that obviously once I create a big update, I like to think that I'd like to spend like a week off, but never really happens because like a few days in, I'm like, yeah, I kind of want to get back on it.
But that's cool.
So, yeah,
That's cool though. I mean, and well, how long has it been? How long have you been developing the game for, from start to now?
3.5 years.
Sorry, how many was that? Sorry,
3.5.
3.5 years.
Yeah.
That's wow. Okay,
Wow.
that's amazing. Okay, because I mean, where are you at now? So the game is released as an early access. What are we at now?
Unofficially. So obviously, basically, I messed up the launch. Steam is a complicated beast. Basically, like Itch.io,
Yep.
fine. And Game Jolt, fine. Desura, back in the day, and also Ouya as well.
Yeah.
So I've used a few. I never had a problem. And Steam has become very, very tough to get around. I just find it really overly complex for a developer to work around, to be honest.
Okay, that's interesting.
Well, there's about 3 or 4 checklists of things you have to do before you could even send your game off for review. It's not as simple as just uploading an exe file and a few pictures. It's so much more than that. And then there's also guidelines on top of that for things like your description. So I copied and pasted my description from GameJolt.
Yep.
And because it had a website link into my Discord, it instantly was rejected.
Oh.
Because it was like, no, you can't have a website in there. And I'm like, what? So then I took that out and then I removed that, then resent it off again. And there was like, oh no, but you put people's reviews in it. You can't have that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I had to take that out. And then, it's all these different little hurdles. And eventually I was just getting a bit annoyed by the whole thing, to be honest. And I got Zombie Workshop to do the artwork for the capsules and everything like that.
Yeah, amazing artwork.
Yeah, that is awesome. And then I went to release, and all this time I presumed I was releasing in early access. Like I couldn't see anything to say I wasn't. And then just as they'd come back and said, "Oh, right, we've reviewed it and we're happy for you to release it," I'm like, "Great!" And I'd already set up a time for it to be released in early access. And then I saw a button which said "Release in early access." So I was like, "Right, fair enough. You messed that up." So I pressed the button, and then it came up on the screen saying, "We'd need to re-review it if you do that." And I was only a few days away from release.
Oh my!
So I was like, "Yeah." And in hindsight, I know what I should have done now, which was to say, "Do you know what? Push the release date back. Let's make sure it goes into early access instead." Would have been a sensible option, but never mind.
But that's experience. I mean, that's the whole thing, isn't it? As an indie developer, someone could tell you all that stuff, and you're not going to remember it all. You have to experience that sort of going wrong, don't you? Now you know exactly what to do for the next game.
Exactly. So that's fine. Isn't it?
Okay, so what about so you had the idea for the game.
Yes.
Did you plan the game out from, like a film script? Did you plan it from start, middle, finish? You know what's going to happen? No.
No, not at all.
Okay, right.
So I have a real issue when it comes to scope, right? So the first game I released on Ouya, which was more of a collaboration, I would say. Still, it the actual hands-on side of things was all the music with Stu's side, but very much more brainstorming and things like that going on. And even that game took over a year, just over a year to release that on New Year. And then we were still releasing updates after that. So scope is a problem for me. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I don't like bugs. And I like things to be as polished as possible.
Yeah, you're in the wrong game here.
You're telling me. And I find, and it's creep, isn't it? It's like feature creep or whatever it's called, and you're constantly adding little extra bits in here and there, and then when people then start giving you feedback, then you start adding even more little bits here and there because you're like, that's a great idea.
You mean like make the scoreboard numbers higher? Make the score awkward people like that. Could it be 9 characters instead of 8? Fine.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm rubbish when it comes to scope, and that's part of the reason why I did that Cat Mallow game. I was like, look, I need to learn how to do super fast games, so I can sort of start building again, but quicker.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, you've done an awesome job. I mean, every time I load this up, it looks better. Whatever you're doing, even like now, again, sorry, audio people, I'm just going to be describing this now. Go to YouTube and check the video out after. But even as I'm walking through the level here, and as I'm walking by the neon instruction signs, the reflection and the light shines on your head, on your body as you walk past perfectly. It's so nice. And this is pixel art. If you didn't know this is pixel art. So I think some people have an idea of pixel art that it's simple, when it absolutely isn't. And to get these lighting effects is amazing. It looks fantastic. And I also really love the fact that you've done your instructions for your game. All the manual is built into the level. So as you're walking past at the start, there's no instructions to start with. You start off in the level. You walk along the corridor, and there's a sign in the background of the game. Press X to jump, just casually, like as a little neon sign. And it's just really natural way of doing it. So did you plan that, or did you just couldn't think of a better way of putting it in?
Oh, I planned that. I mean, even right at the beginning in the Game Jolt, that was the Game Jam, that was planned. Yeah, it was a big thing for me. So I think the old days, like Mario, where it just showed you how to play, it was simple. People worked it out. I think nowadays, especially with mobile games, they're awful. So much hand holding to the point where it takes you out of the experience constantly. Like, it lets you just have a second of gameplay and it takes you out again and tells you something else. And I hate that. But then at the same time, I also don't like the fact of when someone just gives you a great big wacky load of text to read.
Yeah,
this is how you play it. And it's like, no, I hate that. So what I wanted to do straight away is I did a lot of research into how to make tutorials that don't necessarily feel like tutorials, where the whole point is the game shows you how to play from the various things that I added into the levels. So yeah, that was kind of it really. I wanted to make that right from the beginning.
Yeah, because I totally agree. People tend to go one of two ways in games. They give you a screen of a controller with about 20 arrows with all the buttons, and you get about 5 seconds to read it. Like, what was that? Hang on. I think I was playing one once. I had to take a screenshot and leave it open on my other screen to remember the buttons, because it was just like, I can't keep up. Or the other way is, like you said, you're walking along, you're going, oh, there's an enemy. I'm going to shoot. Oh, hang on. To shoot the enemy, and you get a pause and an instruction. It, like, as you said, it completely kills the enjoyment of, like Mario. Mario doesn't give you instructions. You load the game up, and you're like, where am I going? Oh, there's a monster coming. What do I do? One of them must be jump, and you just figure it out. And yeah, you're right. Too much hand holding or frustration. So I think that is. It's one of the. It's not really a mechanic, but I think it's one of the best features that you've implemented. Is that I think it's fantastic. It's really well done.
Thanks. Yeah, definitely. As I say, a big thing for me, and certainly all future games will work that way as well. Because there's nothing worse than a block of text or not getting told anything. That's even worse.
Yeah. Hello.
I mean, certainly. Yeah. I mean, I play a lot of obviously retro games via emulation. And without that book, without that manual, sometimes you're absolutely knackered, aren't you? You know what I mean? Like I'm playing, I was playing ActRaiser tonight, and I was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "This is more complicated than it needs to be. Surely, can we not just have some words or something?" And so, yeah, it's like there's so many games out there where if you don't have a manual, there's no chance of playing them.
No. And well,
So I kind of wanted to get a mix of the two, really.
Yeah, I mean, and especially now, the competition is so high now. There's so many games being released all the time. If your game has something stupid as this awkward controls, you're going to be you're gone. You know, someone picks it up and goes, "Oh, I don't know what's going on here." I've done it myself. You know, I don't actually know what's going on. What are you trying to tell me? What controls? I'll just play one of the other 5 million games in my Steam library that I have. Unfortunate, but it's brutal. But that's what it is. It's what it's like.
Definitely, and you know, especially with pixel art as well, because pixel art's everywhere.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a very popular. I love it. I love pixel art. I'd play all pixel art games if it was up to me. I think they're awesome.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, like I can never have too many pixel art games. I don't see the market as being saturated. I just see it being specially made for me. I'm like, oh, it's pixel art. I'll take it.
Yeah,
as long as it's pixel art or low poly, I'll have it.
I've bought so many games. This is a pixel art. Yeah, I'll pick that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
No idea what it is.
Yeah, just literally searching for the tag pixel art, and that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, it's cool. It's very cool. Okay, so you didn't have a plan. So the biggest problem developers have by a million miles is marketing and PR.
Oh, yeah.
So how did you approach marketing? When did you start thinking, I should probably tell someone about my game?
So I feel like I was telling people for a while about my game, but one thing I didn't do, and I think this was the most important part, is networking. Being a genuinely quite anxious kind of guy anyway, the idea of just randomly chatting to someone who doesn't even know me and then trying to not come across as a guy that's trying to sell you a game it was a bit of a daunting idea. But then I kind of jumped in, you know, probably, I'm trying to think of when it was really, maybe a year or maybe a bit more ago, something like that. I jumped in and I just had a chat with this guy. He happens to now have done some of the voice work in the game as well, which is really cool. And well, in fact, he's the guy at the beginning on the intro, the Full Metal Jacket style intro.
Oh, that's amazing!
That's
yeah.
him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's really awesome. So I just had a chat with him, and obviously, you know, I wanted him to buy the game, but I kind of tried to just sort of just have a chat, and that's what we did. We just spoke about games and stuff like that, what we played and all that kind of thing. And I told him about my game, and I said, look, you know, this is the game, Joel, if you want to have a look at it. And he did, and he bought it there and then, and he was like, this is brilliant. And he was like, can I be involved? And I was like, yeah, if you want. Like, I can't pay you any money. I'm sorry, like, because I don't have any money. But you can be involved if you want to do some voice work. And he did. And then like that's kind of where the audio tape idea came from. That originally wasn't there. It was just that he wanted to do something, and I went, all right, this. So
that's wicked.
And that's kind of how it's been. Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, and that's how it's been with like loads of people now, you know. So he roped his friend in, Corey, and then they then roped in Firstwell Brat into it as well, one of the streamers that I knew who had been beta testing this right from the beginning kind of thing, you know, like when it was super buggy. It was like bad buggy, right? Like fall through the floor, land on the ceiling buggy. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously, you know, the likes of Trista Bytes came on board, and it was like amazing.
That was like, going to be one of my questions. Trista Bytes, obviously, like I said, friend of the show. You can check her podcast. I did an episode with Trista a few episodes ago. Amazing. She's awesome. So how did that come about with Trista?
She's awesome. I just kind of, it was like I started watching her stream and stuff like that, and it was like a dream to have someone like so popular play my game. And I was like, this is, you know, and also she was really cool, and I really liked the stream anyway. And so we're just kind of asking.
That's the spirit.
and I was just like, look, and eventually I was like, I'll even pay you can I pay you so you play my game? And eventually she was just like, all right, look, you know, give me something, and I'll play it. And I was like, okay. And she even said herself she thought it was going to be a lot more basic than what it actually was, and it was quite a lot more nuanced. And there was so much more mechanics than she expected, and she really loved it. You know, she loved it so much she wanted to be involved in it, which was amazing.
Wicked.
And not only once, but then she was like, I told her about my idea for an intro, and she was just like, yeah, I'd love to do it. And I was like, oh, okay. So then she was involved again. So,
Amazing.
and and I made a little pixel art version of her,
Yeah, I love
for the
that.
beginning intro and everything.
The purple hair and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And she loved it. And obviously then other people have come on board since then as well. So it's just really exciting. You know,
That is very cool.
It's great to see so many people wanting to be involved.
Yeah, well, because I didn't know she was in it until I played it, and I was playing it. I was like, "Is this Trista? How have you done that?" I was like, "Wow, this is cool." So that was really cool. I like that. That was really good.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And lately we got Wolfie Law in as well.
Oh yeah,
There's another streamer who played it, and she's done, she's sort of into voice acting and things like that as well. So she just was like, "Look, if there's a part for me, let me know." And I was like, "Well, there isn't, but
I'll make a part.
There is now." Yeah, I just basically replaced one of the sound effects and was like, "Would you like to be a crying person?" And
how well do you die?
Yeah. And also there's another job for some strippers, so you can do that too. And she was like, all right then. So I was like, brilliant. So,
you didn't contact me for any stripping? What happened?
No, I'm sorry. Yeah,
outrageous.
A more feminine voice for it.
Outrageous.
Sorry.
Right. Okay. So what about publishing? Now,
so
this is a very weird area, publishing. And like I said, the more I dive into indie publishing, the scarier I find it. The amount of up and down results is unbelievable. You know, some people, I say a couple people think their publisher is amazing, brilliant.
Yeah.
And the rest are so negative, so wary, so suspicious of publishers. And like I said, on the last episode, on episode 1, I spoke to Top Hat Studios about who are a publisher, indie publisher. And then, again, if you haven't heard it, I asked them all the questions that I'd been hearing from developers saying, you know, hidden fees, not providing what they said they were going to provide, all that stuff. And I asked all those direct questions to them. And to be fair, they answered everything I asked. You know, I didn't prep them beforehand. I just went, by the way, I've got these horrible questions here. I'm going to ask you now. And they just, so fair to them, they did that. But I still see so much negativity towards publishers. Have you purposely avoided publishers, or are you thinking about publishers?
No, I didn't avoid them. So right at the beginning, when it was about, you know, had the Xenomorphs in it and all that kind of thing, I first approached Click Team and said, because they publish games as well. For instance, Five Nights at Freddy's been one of the big ones. Mm-hmm. And I said, would you be interested in you know, publishing this on Steam? And their response was, we, you know, really honoured that you want to talk to us, all that kind of thing, but due to IP infringement issues, we'd be too worried to take it on. So that is the reason why I changed like all the enemies and stuff like that into sort of the actual enemies that they are now. And then I went back to them, and unfortunately, I didn't hear from them again.
They didn't reply.
No, I was like, I've changed all this now. Would you like to continue? And I didn't get kind of anything back.
See, that's
randomly.
That's disappointing.
It is, yeah, especially because I've been using their products forever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a big thing for me. I mean, certainly at least 17 years maybe now of using their stuff.
Yeah, that's like I said, that's disappointing. But I'm hearing that a lot, by the way. I hear that story a lot, where people go to publishers either first or second time and just don't get any sort of response whatsoever. And again, for publishers listening, you really need to up your game on communication and just being a bit more awesome. Because Again, I'm not trying to cover everyone with the same blanket. That's not a saying. That's not a saying, but that is now.
Brush.
Brush. That's it.
Someone with a brush.
Yeah.
You
Whatever.
know what I mean?
I'm not trying to cover you all with the same blood, but in general, it's something that really need to look at because it's so poor for people making amazing games. And even if you don't think it's an amazing game, you don't have to just not reply. I appreciate they probably get lots and lots of emails all the time, but I hear it way too often for it to be just a once off, twice off. You know, it's a common theme. And again, I'm trying to hear what publishers are, you know, which publishers are good, and recommend them to people when I speak to them. And say, look, you know, because I get developers talking to me all the time saying, I would like a publisher, but I don't really know. I'm always a bit wary, and I actually don't have a list of publishers. I'd go, yeah, these guys, amazing. Go speak to them. I don't have one, which is scary, very scary. I mean, you've got Abbey Light Studios, who have been really, really active. They've taken on a community manager now, and that has changed massively. So they've been very good. So kudos to them, by the way. Other than that, I'm struggling, and it shouldn't be like that. Publishers,
no, I agree.
It should be a partnership. You know, you're trying to make a cool game that will make them money as well. That's the idea. Everybody can benefit.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm a bit biased here because it's my game, but ultimately, the people that have played it have given it really good reviews. It wouldn't get 95% positive if it wasn't something there, you know, and I think just given the marketing and the push that it needed, I think it would have been a success. Like, I mean, it already is a success to me, but I think it would have been a success to a publisher if they'd have given it the backing that it needed. However, I don't want to talk too badly publishers because I don't really know too much about it. So I tried, as I say, with Click Team, who told me about the IP issue. Recently, I spoke to Click Team again, who put my trailer on their YouTube channel and things like that. And I've been chatting a little bit with them. And I'm meant to be obviously talking to them possibly about the idea of Switch, maybe, but we don't really know yet. Again, got to finish it first anyway. And then the other company I approached was Green Man Gaming, I think. Green Man Gaming, I think, might be the name.
Well,
of them.
that's the website.
Green Man Publishing.
I know they sell keys, don't they? Green Man Gaming. I've bought stuff from them before.
They do that too, yeah.
I didn't realise they were publishing.
Yeah, it's either I'm pretty sure it's Green Man Gaming or something like that. Definitely green in the name anyway. But and I contacted them and they responded saying kind of a similar thing, like we're not interested at the moment. Also, this is possibly IP infringement, yada yada. So at that point, I was just like, you know what? It's all right. Let's just do it off my own back. And I've got to be honest, considering it's been a bit of a messed up launch. I mean, a bit is an understatement. I had 256 wish lists when I released. It was terrible. Wow. But considering it's holding its own, the wish lists are building. We're coming up to 700.
Oh, nice jump.
Sales are building. You know, I'm getting paid. So yeah, exactly. So I genuinely think, you know, it's making strides.
Yeah, because
I think it deserves to, because people like it.
Yeah, I totally agree, and it's a really so. First of all, if you are a publisher, and you want to either come and talk to James or myself, or you want to explain the publishing world a bit more, please get in contact with me because I would love to ask even more awkward questions. So please get in contact. And for me, Alien Scumbags, very okay. I know you've got, like you said, about the IP infringement because there are aliens in it and there are some funny characters. So like my character I'm playing, if you're watching the live stream now, my character is the Flasher.
Right, yes.
and it is a man in a little red suit with no trousers on. So there you go. You can use your imaginations. Very funny. It's a very funny little joke. But again, How much of a problem is that with IP? I don't know.
No. So basically, it comes under the parody clause, because you're not copying it, you're parodying it.
Okay.
The issue I had with IP, and it wasn't nothing ever official. It was just people's concerns over IP, and that was when there were xenomorphs in it and things like that, and it was an actual Alien fan game. However, it's now become part, it's its own thing, and the references came with that. So that was the only real issue. But now I don't feel like there's any issues regards to IP at all, because you can have things that look the same. I mean, you only have to look at some racing games where they blatantly just rip off the exact model of a car and then just stick no badge on it, or a different badge completely. Don't
Of
you?
course. Well, it's like
Exactly
the old International Superstar Soccer. Do you remember those series of games? And they couldn't.
With a fake version.
Yeah, and they couldn't have. I'm a Liverpool fan, so don't untune. But if you so I always wanted to play as Liverpool, and I loaded it up. I was like, right, Liverpool, where are they? I'm like, Merseyside Red. Oh, guess that's them then.
You got to love some of their names though that they came out with, haven't you?
So, but yeah, it was brilliant. But your game is, as I was trying to make the point, it's very, very marketable because the visuals are fantastic. Clips, it's going to be brilliant for clips. It stands out. It only looks, again, I always say this, your game only looks like your game. It doesn't look like.
I like to think so.
Yeah, exactly. If I saw a screenshot of this, I would be able to tell which game this was instantly. If you showed me 20 space themed games, there's no way I'd be, guy's got no trousers on. It's Alien Scumbags. Of course it is. But that's the point, and that's why. So it's very, very publisher friendly in that sense. You're not trying to force content out because it looks great, it plays great, and like I said, the reviews are great.
Yeah, no, well, I doubt they are. I mean, I think one of the, I think one of the main things is that I'm really happy with things like the references and things like that. I mean, and I think that becomes almost something that people like hunting down the references. Like, I've not counted them, to be honest. I just kind of doing them on the fly.
Actually, it's interesting because I've probably missed loads.
I
bet I've missed absolutely tons, and especially,
probably some that I don't even know about that you're telling me are there.
Accidental references. But
exactly.
It's
I've
a good
had
point.
That before. People have said, "Oh yeah, I'm this," and I'm like, "No," but I'll go with it. I'm like, "Yeah,
totally intended." In fact,
exactly.
I think we haven't done this. Have we covered this on the Indie Booth? I've lost track where I've covered your game now. But if not, I think Paul would love the references. He'd be able to get way more than I would because he's smarter than me.
No, so the actual, funnily enough, so the first time we did the Indie Booth, right, which was kind of when you was testing things, that was because someone didn't end up turning up. And I was like, you sort of like called on me at last minute.
Yes.
And then the second time, just so happened that Paul wasn't there.
Oh,
and
okay.
So it was just you, wasn't it?
Okay. So we'll have to do that. We'll have to get Paul to play this because I think he'd really enjoy it. So let's just. So we do have a question in the chat. Again, I'm trying not to reference chat too much, just because podcast reasons.
I tried to respond to the questions in the chat, but I don't want to not look like I'm paying any attention.
Yeah, no.
I've got my phone in front of my face.
Yeah. Whatever, mate. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So Ace of Spades said that they do. Just this is talking about our scheduling earlier. They try to stay on a specific schedule to give themselves deadlines, which I think is a sensible idea.
I do.
Because
without a doubt. Yeah.
Again, I would, if I had the choice, I would just sit here. Or if I had no responsibilities, no children, or a job, then I would just be sat at this desk, creating content, playing games, without even pulling the blind in front of me. So, my work schedule forces me to break. So I think that's a good idea, definitely.
No, definitely.
And then Jenny Galaxy says, do you form a company before releasing the game? Okay, so I know you've replied in chat, but how have you done that in audio terms?
No, I haven't, because you don't need to until you hit 1,000. Until you hit £1,000, you don't have to legally set up a company.
Revenue or profit?
revenue.
Okay.
And I've not hit that yet. Nearly. So it was kind of one of those things where I put the game under my name instead, so I'm like the sole developer sort of thing instead.
Okay.
And then once it earns enough, then that's when we have to become limited, which, to be fair, looks like it's going to be relatively soon. So that's scary.
Especially when you fill the form in for the official all the suits. Yeah, that's Monster Finger Games Limited. I'm interested. What the hell's going on over there?
It's going to be a weird time, but yeah, I'm pretty dreading it, to be honest. I don't like the idea of, all the
tax
legalities
returns
of it all, but yeah, it's one of them things, isn't it?
That's cool. No,
so,
okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, okay, so we've done publishing. We've done. Okay, so I was going to ask you about your launch, but we've covered that already. But the other thing I wanted to touch on is I think I was talking to you in one of the live streams before, and you were having to type your answers, so now you can chat.
Yes.
It's about after your game has launched. Like, is there a bit of a, I don't want to say like a loss of, not enthusiasm, but does it feel like a climax that you've released? It's like, and then you've gone, what next? What do I do now? What am I supposed to do with myself? How do you know how long to keep working on the game? How do you know when you should start your next game? Have you even thought about that stuff?
So with this one, because it's not finished yet, it's nearly finished, but it's not quite there yet. As I say, officially, it should have been in early access at this present moment.
Mm-hmm.
But from past experience, I can tell you that certainly it's a weird feeling, because when you've released the game, it's kind of like, it sounds really over the top, right? But it's kind of like, that's your baby, right? And then your baby's gone off and left, right? and then you're kind of a bit empty inside, because you're like, what do I do now? And you kind of just like almost like twiddling your thumbs. It's like there's a piece missing, and especially it's going to be that way for Alien Scumbag. It's been 3.5 years of my life. Been working on this, so that's going to be an experience. But yeah, so I think that's how I feel personally when it happens. It's a bit of an anticlimax. So you get like this really, oh my god, I'm going to release it, and then you do, and then you kind of like,
Yeah.
You don't know what to do with yourself. And then you're kind of desperate to then do something else, So I like to jump back on as soon as I can, because the idea of not doing it feels a bit weird to me. I've just kind of been doing it forever now,
Yeah. But I mean, so what is the next steps for you? What is the next plan? Do you plan on making a completely different game, or I suppose it's never going to be quite fully finished, is it? Because you're going to start thinking about, like you said, about the Switch port, which I think it looked great on the Switch, by the way. Switch port. Where is it available now? It's Steam. I mean, PC in general. Yeah. Is that its main platform?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. So Steam, Game Jolt, itch.io.
Okay. So it seems that Switch would be the next natural one for it. That would make sense.
Yes, but also there's another option.
Oh.
However, we're obviously not at a point of MDAs, so I don't have a problem mentioning it, because I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. But it's very early days anyway, and obviously it has to be finished before we could even discuss that fully. But there has been some discussions with Evercade.
Oh, yeah?
And obviously to have it on a cartridge for that would be amazing.
I think
the idea is because of, I mean, I think because of the size, it would likely be like a twin pack or something similar to that instead, in the same way as I did Xeno Crisis and the other one.
Okay. That would be very cool. Yeah. Having boxed artwork. Amazing.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, obviously, as I say, it's early days because I need to finish it first. There's also some behind the scenes side of things that they need to do in regards to who would be able to port what I've got over, and whether or not that's something that they're happy to do or not. So, but what they did say to me is, we like it, we've played it, we're interested.
Very cool.
That's as far as we've gotten so far. So yeah.
Okay, so
that's as good as you can get at the moment.
So what were they like? Again, you can be honest here. What were they like to deal with in contacting and communications? Were they good to deal with? Evercade?
Oh yeah, really friendly. Yeah, great. You know, I mean, I've liked Evercade right from the beginning, and obviously I bought an Evercade myself as well when it first came out, and I just spoke to them on Discord, and they were really friendly. Someone contacted me because a few people on Twitter had been sort of saying, you know, we'd like this on Everkid, and I'm like, me too. and so then I started putting it into the Discord and saying, yeah, I'd like this on Everkid. If only I could get it on Everkid. And just sort of just pushing it, and it was like, oh yeah,
lodging your way in, yeah.
And then exactly, and then yeah, I had a chat with somebody, and they said, can you please send me a key for the game? So I did. They played it. They said we would be interested, and then it's kind of that's the sort of situation we're at the moment. So there's a place for it, in essence, if all goes well.
That's very cool. That's very good. Yeah, I just like to shout them out if they, if they've done something good, then it's fair enough to shout them out. That's all.
Everkid are brilliant. Yeah, really nice set of guys.
Awesome. Okay, so I've got just a couple more bits for you. Do I actually have? Do I have any more? That is it. That's the end of my notes. See you later, notepad.
No, bye.
Okay, so now I'm.
You are on the leaderboard, yeah?
That's it.
I know you are actually, aren't you? But you need to get higher.
Yeah, I know.
Higher.
Yeah, I'm on the leaderboard. Don't you worry. I've not been setting any high scores in this run. I'll tell you that. So I did have a question, and it's completely got. Oh, so yeah, what you are doing really well, from my experience, is you are so active on social media. You are everywhere. If there's a thread about a game, about a platform, whatever, I see the little Monster Finger games little pop up. I see them there, little comments, and that's really important. So, how have you found? Because I put a tweet out the other day saying that if I was a developer, and I'm no chance in a million years going to be, my first hire honestly would be some sort of community social media manager. That would be my first port of call if I was a developer. Get your community sorted, because the technical stuff, if you're developing a game, you're obviously technical anyway, naturally, or you've learned how to be technical. It's very hard to teach someone to be good with people, a good communicator. That is again a very natural skill to have. So if you are struggling with that social side of it, then I honestly would say a community manager would be my first port of call, even if it's just for a few hours a week, just so they're interacting with people and you don't have to feel like you're hating it, doing it, going, oh God, I better go on that Twitter malarkey and post one GIF, and because that comes across, you know what I mean? But obviously you've been very good at being really active and just replying to people. Again, you always join my streams, you always show me support. You tag people. You're just active. I mean, that's the point. You don't have to be spamming your link everywhere. You just have to be talking to people, which I think is something that a lot of people struggle with, just because it's a whole new skill set to learn. And
it is. I mean, I come from like a customer service background from work side of things, and then sales as well. So I've kind of got the gift of the gab in that regard, just because I'm genuinely chatty anyway.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've got anxiety as well. So the talking face-to-face thing doesn't ever really tend to work out as much for me. I find that quite difficult. Talking on the phone or talking online, for example, is fine because, it's not a face-to-face issue. So it's okay. But I think at the same time, it was kind of more, it's not necessarily because I've got any skills in marketing. It's just kind of because I jump in and just push as hard as possible. I distinctly remember, and I can't remember who it was, but I distinctly remember someone getting in contact regards to advertising my game across to YouTubers and all that kind of stuff. And I looked at the price lists and things like that, and I had a chat with them, and I basically said, look, I haven't got the budget for you. This isn't going to work. And I distinctly remember the response coming back from it saying, well, if you want to do this, then you'd have to do all of this off your own back if you don't want to pay to get the kind of results we give you. So in my head, I thought, all right,
Screw you.
So I was like, I ain't got the money to spend on this, I'm afraid. So
Yeah.
I will do it all myself, and I will prove that you can do it by yourself. And
But again,
I think I am.
but that company, whoever that was, I mean, it goes down to, like I was saying about the publishers earlier. They had the perfect opportunity to say, no problems, we understand. We've got some little free tips, like a sheet here for you. If you just want to take a look at that little sheet there, might give you some ideas on how you can promote your game for free. If you do get to a point where you can afford it and you want to try us, please get in contact with us and we'll see if we can help you out and find something. And then you would have been like, that's amazing. Thank you so much. You are definitely the people I'm coming to next. And it would have cost them no more effort than just going, well, good luck, mate. Ridiculous. Exactly. And like I said, I hope their business is failing, because if that's the attitude they've got, then I hope people aren't using them. It's weird. People are weird.
Exactly. It is unfortunate, but I think it gave me the drive to just say, you know what, I'll do it myself. And the thing is now that the game is starting to make money, I might have actually been in a position to sort of say, all right, well, you know,
exactly.
I'm happy to talk about stuff now, you know, but yeah, it's one of them things.
Oh, James,
I've kind of gotten into my stride with it now, so it's
I'm dying. Hang on, I'm dying. Okay, good. I'm survived.
You're back. Okay, good.
Yeah, some developer put green sludge that I was dying in. What a swine. So, where is the best place people can find you? Do you have a main source of social media that is best to connect with?
Yeah, I would say definitely Twitter, wouldn't it? You know, I mean, I literally live life on Twitter. I looked at how many tweets I've put on Twitter, by the way. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And we're talking over 21,000 now.
21,000? Oh, my God.
Hang on. I'm gonna tell you the exact amount right now.
That's impressive.
Just extra excitement. Right.
Oh,
hang on.
Okay, we'll go for it.
How do you find it?
I think it's in your profile. And
yeah, there it is. 21.4 thousand.
Wow. In how long?
Well, officially, I've been doing it since 2013. Officially,
still, that's a lot.
As far as games are concerned, not as long as that.
That's a lot.
So, Monster Finger Games has been around since 2013, but as I say, I really started networking properly with people years ago, something like that.
Wow. So. Okay. And okay, so before we end this, is there anything that you think developers or new developers should know? Is there something that they should really look at that most people forget about, or something that you forgot about that you think that they should definitely look at before they dive in, or before they leave it too late?
Okay, yes. I mean, firstly, don't think about making the game, just start making the game. I think it's probably a really important thing to say, because you can plan and plan and plan and plan till the cows come home, but until you're going to actually get on that laptop and start your job and start making what's in your head, you ain't going to ever get there. I think also I would probably say finish a game. Like, I don't know, I don't really take my own advice here, but
hey, do as I say, not as I do.
Do some small, exactly, yeah. Do some small things. Right, scope's a big deal, and I'm terrible for it. But definitely make lots of small games, because releasing a game teaches you a lot. And as I say, the other thing where I look at game development so that you don't burn out is to imagine it as a cake. If you eat a bit of cake, right, every day,
I like this.
You're fine, right? You're going to be fine, and then eventually the cake's gone, right?
No.
But if you're like, I like that cake, I'll eat it all in one go, you'll be sick, and then you'll be like, I don't want cake anymore. There you go. Development in a nutshell. Eat mini cakes.
Bite-sized cakes. Buy the box with the bite-sized pieces in rather than the whole thing. I like it.
Lots of mini bits of cake and you'll be fine.
Well, I'm not sure how you've linked cake into development, but well done. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to go over?
No. I mean, I'm pretty happy with everything so far. Yeah. All good.
So I'm just this seems like a new area to me. Sorry, audio people. Sorry. Check out the YouTube video again. So like I said, every time I play this game, you seem to have added loads of new stuff all the time.
Yeah, it is changing a fair bit. As I say, it's pretty much early access, so there's lots of little extra bits coming in. Like the box pushing was quite a new thing.
Yeah.
In the last thing, and what I did is then alter the levels to fit to the box pushing idea.
Oh, okay.
So there's certain bits where you wouldn't be able to get up without using the boxes.
Right.
Just trying to add a little bit more strategy to it, I guess.
Wish you'd told me that before I shotgun them all.
Indeed. I've seen that on stream as well for people as well, where they literally walk up to where the sign is about pushing boxes and just shoot the boxes.
Yeah.
Like,
I just shoot the sign, shoot the boxes. What am I doing here? But that's one thing we haven't mentioned is the fact that nearly everything is destructible. You can shoot everything in this game, and the fact, like the section I'm on here, I'm in a bathroom scene, and there's a huge mirror, and even the reflection looks gorgeous. It does such a good job. The lighting is oh my god, how does that? Yeah, it's so good. I really recommend everybody jumps online, because is there a demo available now?
Yeah, I've put a free demo out on Steam. Okay. I think it's on itch.io as well, and GameJolt. Although I would suggest, if you're going to get it on anywhere, Steam is the best one because of the fact that it's got online leaderboards via Steam, and also the achievements as well.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's all local, you see. So it depends, obviously, how much people care about that, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. I mean, just before, again, I keep saying before we end, but the platform choice about where you're publishing it to. Obviously, yes. Itch. How did you find it? Because I've been sort of discovering Itch. I've done a few videos recently on Itch, and there's so many games on Itch. There's like over 400,000 games on Itch, which is just incredible. So,
crazy, isn't it?
How did you decide on where to release it to? Obviously, you've got Steam. What about Epic? Have you looked at Epic?
So I did very, very early on. And they basically said, we're not looking for anything new right now, but sort of like a we'll call you, don't call us sort of situation. So I just left it at that.
Well, it's interesting with Epic because they've just added last week the Itch app into their app store. Did you see that?
Oh, wow.
So if you go onto the Epic,
I don't have Epic. So.
Oh, if you go onto the Epic Game Store now and search for Itch, then it lists their app, the Itch app now, so you can install it from the. I know it's weird. You're installing a game platform from another game platform. It's like Inception. I don't know why you would do.
Weird,
again, I don't know why you would do that. It makes no sense because all it does is download the installer, and it installs the same one that you can download from the website onto your PC. But the point is, people who aren't aware of Itch are going to be discovering it through the Epic Store now. I think that is the important point. And Epic have said that they are not taking a cut of any of the sales or anything. They are literally just listing the app now, which is interesting. So whether that has changed their attitude towards indie games now, whether they are thinking, hang on, we need to be taking a look at some of these now. So it might be worth having another little message to them. Because again, they only charge 12%, don't they?
I don't know. As I said, I didn't get involved in it enough because I think it was just like before they'd launched official or something like that, and they were sort of saying, if you want to come on board, register your interest or whatever, and I did, and then it's just kind of like, no, I was like,
fine.
But I was told that I should try GOG as well.
Yeah.
But again, I've not looked at them just yet. But
as
I say, it's all something I will do.
Well, they are. Like I said, Epic are the outliers here. So they take 12% of any profits, whereas all Steam, GOG, they all take 30%, don't they? And to be honest, GOG, I was surprised that GOG take 30%. I was almost not annoyed, but I was a little bit disappointed that they take 30% as well, because they do a great job and they curate all of their games. They handpick the games that they want to appear, properly handpick them. It's not algorithmed. They actually go through and see, does this fit our platform? Is it something we think will sell well or do well? So they do a lot of work there, and they really do push the indie scene. I was just slightly disappointed that they weren't charging maybe 20%, just as a little. I don't know. I guess a business. I know
30% is a lot of oomph, isn't it? I mean, it's quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
To take away. I mean, I think other than Steam just being a platform with my game on it, I don't think they've done anything else for me.
No.
To take that 30% at all.
No, you're paying because they're Steam and they have the most people. They shouldn't be able to, but they can get away with charging 30% because they can say, yeah, but everyone's got Steam, so you pay 30%. But the other platforms, I'm surprised they're not going well, like Epic have done. Okay, we'll charge you 12%. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then leave Steam on their own up here with 30, and everyone else is undercutting. I know you can't always compete on price, etc., etc. I'm just saying, I was just disappointed in GOG. So
it'd be interesting to have a company that's hand picking games, though, because I suppose at least if they hand pick you, they're more interested in speaking to you.
Yeah.
Where I feel like Steam are not overly great at that.
No.
I mean, I think if you've got tons and tons of downloads already, they'll probably help you get tons and tons more. But if you haven't, they ain't going to help you.
Yeah, you've got to show them the numbers before they show you the numbers. Definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I spoke to them. Well, firstly, I spoke to them about putting my game back in early access, to which they said, "Nope."
Oh
can't
no!
do that.
Really?
Yeah, they just was like, "No." It was like it's been out too long, and I think it was like was it 2 months after, maybe 3 months after, where I kept sort of thinking I should really put this back in early access, but I don't think I'm allowed to. And eventually, someone was like, "You should just try it," and I was like, "Okay," so I did, and then that was when they said no. And I was like, okay. So then I left that, and I was just kind of trying to see if they could help me out, basically, like, because I have a game that is being reviewed well, so therefore surely it's something that might be good for people to see more of, and I said, well, about the Steam, what is it called? Like when they put one game on sale.
Sorry, I've just had a 3-year-old has entered the room.
That's all right.
Hey, baby. Bear about 1 second.
That's all right. No worries.
Okay, I'm back. Apologies.
Ooh, that's all right. No worries at all.
Obviously, forgot to forward my streaming schedule to my 3-year-old.
That's all right. I can hear my son and upstairs at the moment. Anyway, my daughter's just come back down, so there you are.
Oh, you're playing that game as well. Okay, yeah. So sorry if I
it's all good.
If I cut you off there, I've lost track of where we were at. I'm afraid.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry, it's all good. Yeah, no, I was just saying about what was it called? Do you know, like when they do 1-day sales or whatever it is? What's it called on Steam when they do that? They have a special name, don't they?
Steam sale.
Basically, they have like where they pick one game and they make it on sale for just 1 day, where they basically say like you should check this out.
Yeah.
And as I said that, I sent them a message about that, and they responded and went, "Yeah, no." Again,
Wow,
was like,
there's a theme here.
We'd only be, yeah, I know, right? They'd be like, we'd only look at people that have at least 5,000 wish lists, and we need at least this many sales before you would be considered for anything like that. And I'm like, Bill, how do you get to that point without assistance getting to the point?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's complicated.
It's the never-ending issue for indies. You know, that is the problem. It's exposure. Exposure is the problem, and it's the same for everybody. Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's pretty much why I just get off my own back and do it all, really, because if I just keep pushing my name to everyone, even if they don't like it, at least they'll know it exists.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, you definitely can't say that you're not trying, because you are definitely trying. But you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job.
A plus for effort. Yeah.
Yeah. You're doing a great job. Your game's fantastic. You're doing everything you should be doing, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
Like coming on podcasts. There you go. What a success.
I do. I love podcasts. I've been on a few now, and I'm like, yeah, I've got a microphone. I need to use it. You know what I mean?
You do, yeah. You got to get your big dollars worth.
Exactly.
So we had a couple of messages in chat cool. while I was gone. Did we miss anything that we need to discover? So King Javo. So King Javo is the developer for Brutal Legend. Nope, that's a different game. Legend Bowl, I think.
Okay.
I believe American football game. Is that right, King Javo? Am I thinking about a different game? I'm sure it was Legend Bowl. So he was asking about. I see you're a dev in early access. Oh, are we talking about publishing? You're asking about publishing. Okay, so that's interesting that you're in early access. And see, when should that publisher question come up as well? That's an interesting one, isn't it? When should you start thinking about contacting publishers?
It's a weird one, that, isn't it?
Because
I'd like to think you have to have something for them to play.
Yeah, they've got to see something.
Decide whether or not they want you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's confusing on that.
And again, but do different publishers work differently? I assume they do. I assume some were happy to talk to you no matter what. Like I said, I mean, again, Top Hat Studios, when I spoke to them last time, they said that they'll happy answer any questions. If anyone contacts them, they'll answer any questions that people have got and help them out, which is really cool. I just think sometimes
that's cool. Yeah.
Sometimes the publishers seem like they're in a different world that no one can contact them, or you know what I mean. It's almost like a little bit of people are scared of publishers.
Yeah, I think because there's all those horror stories out there, though, isn't there? There's horror stories where people have kind of almost been scammed out of things and all sorts of things. I wasn't necessarily so worried about that because, I was obviously going to tread very carefully. But my main thing is, I think publishers can be a really great service. I mean, if they've got all those contacts that you could be getting involved in.
And that's the key, isn't it?
So, and obviously, yeah, exactly. And they've got the money for marketing, albeit they aren't allowed to market on Facebook anyway because my name's too naughty, so they won't be able to get on there. So. Genuinely, that's what happened.
Wow!
Before it released, I actually signed up and everything like that, and I was paying for advertising through Facebook, and Facebook rejected me and told me my name was my title had a profanity in it, so I was like, okay.
Scumbags?
Or is there scumbags? Yeah,
you can't say scumbags. How naughty is that? Oh my god!
I say scumbags. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could understand if I'd called it something really bad, but
Yeah.
you know, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's called early scumbags. It's not really particularly offensive, is it?
No, that is horrendous. But again, that's an interesting thing to think about for the future projects. Do you go more conservative and think, I won't call it, scumbags next time because I had issues with like I said, with advertising and people going, I don't know about the name. But then it almost makes you think, no, screw you. I want to call it that. That's what I want to call it. It depends which way you want to go. Am I going to go against the system, or I'll just go, okay, I'll just call it Alien Annoyance.
Alien Annoyance. Yeah.
That's the PG version.
I don't know. I mean, I think because it wasn't necessarily like, and I think certain people who have reviewed it and not particularly understood. Like, I think one YouTuber that tried it, and they literally called their YouTube video something like "pussy" for a difficulty, just no. Something like that. It was called.
Really?
That was their title for their video.
I didn't even pick up on that.
I was like, wow. And I watched the video, and it basically said that I was trying to be really edgy and like really over the top edgy. And I'm like, no, you're missing the joke.
Yeah.
The joke is the edgy silliness, because it's like the old 90s stuff. Like, it's not meant to be taken seriously. You know, it's meant to be a comical jab at this kind of macho-ness. And that's all it was, So I think the people that think it's edgy are missing the point, because it's not edgy. It's comedic, because it's taking the mick out of that, isn't it?
But then in the other sense, the good thing about that is your game is targeted towards people. It has a target audience of people who like that style. If you took all that stuff out, it would just be a pixel art shooter.
Yeah.
And there's loads. There's loads of them.
It wouldn't be the same without it.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
but
yeah,
that's the reason why censorship got added. was because he'd mentioned that, and I'm not one to just start shouting on about it, saying how dare you call my game that, and getting all arsey about it. There's no need for that, No. So I literally just responded to him and was like, let's have a chat. So I heard what he got to say, and I was like, all right, fair enough. Put it to a poll. Said, is this offensive? Put up a picture of it saying pussy on it. And more people thought it was offensive than didn't think it was offensive, only just mind. So I was like, all right, yeah, genuinely. So I thought, you know what? I'm cool with that. If that's genuinely what you need to make you feel more comfortable, I'm not here to make you feel offended. And I'm all about accessibility as well. I mean, my kids play my game, so they didn't mind. And so the reason why, and some people have said the censorship's kind of like, you're sort of almost like selling out in it, and I'm like, well, no, not really, because the warning screen is done as a piss take from 90s games like Thrill Kill and things like that, where it'd give you that sort of silly warning where it's like, can you handle this? And it's like you have to say yes or no. So it's kind of poking fun at doing that by adding the censorship in, because there's censorship now, but even like the fact that when he swears it beeps out and stuff like that, and that things like the boobs are covered over, pixel boobs of all things, are covered over by black and yellow tape.
Pixel boobs. That is, if that's not a punk band, then I'm disappointed.
I know, right? And so basically I did the censorship, one, to sort of say, hey, if that's the kind of game you want to play, go for it, no problem at all. But at the same time, also to be able to poke fun at the idea around censorship anyway, because it's all a bit silly, isn't it? Really,
it's all over the top, yeah.
To get offended by 8-bit pixel boobs, or the fact that someone's calling you a pussy because you're using a difficulty level that's too ezy. Yeah, really. I'm
on that setting. I'm on that setting.
Yeah, that's fine. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says on the
but
death
thing is-
screen.
yeah. It's not. It's not even called Pussy. Obviously, as you've probably seen already on the censored version. It's just called I'm Fragile.
Oh, I don't know what version I'm playing. I'm pretty sure this was the Pussy version. I thought.
Yeah, if it's censored, so it's got the beeps and stuff like that in it, then the difficulty level changes itself over to
I'm Fragile.
I'm Fragile. And it just says "ouch" when you press it instead. I thought of everything.
but when you were making it, you didn't think you were going to be having those problems. It wasn't a concern you were, which is amazing. It was just developed, isn't it? It's just something that you've learned for next time.
Exactly. I mean, I've had one problem in the past with censorship, and it was hilarious. Actually, I'm pretty sure I've saved the picture somewhere because it was just so funny. I made a game called Super Renegade Response. This was obviously in our early days of making games when it was the Ouya and stuff like that. So I feel like I'm at a point where I'd love to sort of go back to it and make it with all of the expertise and the experience I've had now, because I feel like it could be so much better. But anyway, needless to say, it was a bit like a Spy Hunter style game. But the idea was that you still had an accelerator and brake. Instead of just going up and down the screen like Spy Hunter would, you actually used to accelerate, and then the screen would scroll faster as you accelerated. And then if you braked, the screen would slow down.
Okay.
So it felt a bit. I kind of tried to make it feel more like an actual driving thing as opposed to just a shooting thing. So it was an interesting sort of mashup. But anyway, on that we had, because it was very much about taking the mick out the 80s and stuff like that with Rubik's Cubes and all sorts of things like that, driving a Porsche and all that.
Of course.
So, and then in the background there was obviously like sunbathers in there, right? And I'm sure you can tell where this is heading. So they're only tiny pixelated sunbathing women, right? And they had their boobs out right from the beginning. So the very first time it was QA tested by Ouya, they had their boobs out. No one noticed, no one cared. I just thought, well, what's it matter?
Yeah.
You know, it's literally a tiny red dot in the middle of a bit of peach. It's nothing major, right? So, and then randomly, just when I put one of the updates out, it got rejected by QA.
No.
And there was a picture where they'd zoomed into the boobs.
Oh, no.
It was amazing. They'd zoomed right into the boobs and they'd put over the top of it the reasons why it wasn't allowed. And I was like, this is golden.
This is amazing.
I mean, they've literally zoomed in to see 8-bit pixel boobs and telling me the reason why I'm not allowed to have pixel boobs in my game.
Yeah.
So I put a big censored sign over the top of them just to take the mick, and then re-released it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I literally wrote the word censored, and then just slapped it over the top,
Amazing.
just for a laugh.
Amazing.
And then called it the Too Hot for Ouya version or something like that. It was just to take the mick even further out of it, because it was just like, really? Have we got this far, like where it becomes this much of an issue? You know,
that's insane. I'm imagining their partner coming into the room when they've got your game up and they're zooming in, like, oh yeah, well, I found like, Dave, what are you doing? Nothing. I'm just
a little bit weird.
I'm censoring this. What are you zoomed in so much?
It's just so weird. It was hilarious though. I mean, like, me and Stu was just like pissing ourselves laughing because it was so funny. It was just like, what is this all about? We've actually been rejected because of this.
Well, this is giving you a good story and a laugh, so you can take that.
Yeah, indeed.
Right, okay. Well, I think that is all the questions I had, and plus many more.
Yeah, it's all good.
I really appreciate you coming to chat to me, and again, I thank you for all the support that you give. And it's been it's great getting to know you, and I'm looking forward to whatever the hell you're going to be making next. I can't wait. Do you have an idea what you want to make next?
Yes. So yes, and also lots of little mini projects too. So my idea is I quite like to do some more of these little mini one-day things, something like that, just to see what I can come up with, or a 1-week thing, see what I can manage out of a 1-week thing. I'd really like to do a top-down racing game, but officially, the next big project, not as big as this one though, will be Funking Delicious, but at the moment it's very, very early days, so there's not much I can say about it really, other than the ideas we're throwing around at the moment is a cross between Geometry Dash and Super Meat Boy, kind of a bit like that.
Oh, okay, wow.
So precision-based platforming, but also with the sort of the cube rolling along kind of thing going on too.
Nice.
It did actually make, you probably see it on the YouTube videos if you look through all of them, there's a lot. And there was an old game called Cuboid that I started making for the year before it ended up their server shutting. And I always thought it was quite a cool idea because it was basically like a Geometry Dash idea, but slightly different because you could roll as normal, but also you could hang to the undersides of platforms. So you could jump up with a platform above you, hold the jump button down, and it would auto roll across the top of that. So it's like anti-gravity.
Nice.
So it gave you these other cool ideas on how to, you could change where you are in the level and stuff like that by jumping on different bits. And so I said to Stu, I said, look, would you be interested in pushing the idea you've got to a bit more like this idea with your idea as well of the precision platforming? So I think that's maybe what we're looking to go down the route of. So, but
that's very cool.
Plus with a big dose of funk.
You got to put something in there, and because I saw that you created a game for your daughter that I played the other day on stream, and that was really good. Again, it started off all nicey nice. It started off like, oh yeah, this is quite cute, and then it got hard as hell, and I started shouting at it.
Yes,
but
there's a few balancing issues there.
but it was again, I'm not trying to undervalue your game here. It was a very simple game. It was just a cat.
It was
picture of a cat. Yeah,
about 4 hours.
Yeah, it was an image of a cat, a pixel art image. It looks lovely, and then you had a paw that you could move left and right, and what was popping out of its head? Marshmallows.
Yeah,
out of the cup.
It was marshmallows coming out of hot chocolate, and then you had to grab them with your paw, but not the hot ones.
Yeah, that's right. You had to avoid the hot ones. Yeah, simple as that. It's simple as that. Yeah. It was good fun. Because at first you think, well, this is quite easy, but it was good fun. But again, that shows you that you don't have to create some multi-level 20-hour campaign game. If you can just create that game. What was it called? Sorry, what was the game called?
Mallow.
Sorry, say that again. It just cut out for me.
That's all right. Cat Mallow.
Cat Mallow. Okay. So Cat Mallow, simple idea. You're just catching bloody marshmallows with a cat paw. Sounds, but the thing is, I played it and had fun I played it for 10 minutes, but I played it and had fun. You created the game, you released it, and it's out there. And that process is just, it's important to do that. I think that's really important to do that. And
it is important to do that, definitely. And I don't think I've done enough of that. I would have liked, I think in hindsight, I would have liked to have done a few more of these smaller games during this 3.5 year period to just keep my hand in and making new bits and new ideas. But yeah, that's what I'd like to do, is do a few more sort of game jams and things like that, just to get some small ideas out there, as well as working on this new game too. Probably just as my own personal projects, just the little ones. And then obviously the bigger ones officially with like Stu and obviously getting the music and things like that from there.
Okay. Well, so you are now, you saw that I keep saying we. I only say we because when Paul joins me, I feel bad if I say I, because he's doing half the indie booth. So I actually, I don't think Paul even knows. I actually announced that we're going to be doing our own Indie Game EX game jam.
Indeed.
I just thought, do you know what? We've got like in the Discord, we've got however many developers in the Discord, a good chunk of developers in the Discord. And everybody loves game jams. We're all in the same Discord. Let's just start a game jam. Let's just do one. Take suggestions from you guys and just see what happens. I just thought that'd be quite cool. So I'm looking
I'm
forward
really
to
excited, and I think it's exciting because this is something so cool about just someone just saying, "This is what you got to do. Think of something."
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Whoa!" And it's cool what you come up with. I mean, the idea, for example, Cat Mallow. I just thought on the day I was like, it'd be cool to make a game in an hour or two, because I was always watching videos about like development stuff like that, but also recently been watching a lot of videos about people that do game jams as well, like where they just specialize in just doing a whole YouTube channel over just doing mini game jams all the time.
Wow.
And I was like, it's really cool that you're just thinking of all these really awesome ideas, and you sort of have to be pushed into doing things in such a tight time scale. Because this guy did, I think it was a 10-minute or 1 hour. No, it wasn't. A 10-minute, a 30-minute, and a 1 hour game.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, that's amazing. Insane. And so I came downstairs after finishing work, and my daughter had drawn this on a canvas, had drawn basically that cup, which is in Cat Mallow.
Amazing.
With a little face on it. And these little mallows with faces on. And I was like, oh, that's adorable. And I was like, Bella, I'm making you a game. And it was literally that, and that was it.
That's
and then
amazing.
I just got the laptop out and started from there. I was like, got to have this cup in it. And I was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, because she likes cats, I like cats. So I was like, maybe it was a cat catching some marshmallows. Yeah, and I was like, brilliant. And then we just sort of went from there.
Yeah, that's actually.
She was like, and I want. It was great, you know. She was like, I want a multicolored one. I want some hot ones, and I was like, okay, cool.
That's really cool. But that's really nice to know, actually, because again, my daughter, she's only 3, so we're not there yet. She was playing Mario earlier, though. Amazing.
Very nice.
Yeah. But the idea of the game jam forcing you to sort of decide is quite interesting, because I think that creativeness can be a bit of a hurdle for people. They're going, oh, I just don't know what to make. You haven't got time to not know because you're making one. So get on with it. Just got to be something. It's got to be functional. That's all it's got to be, is functional.
Some amazing ideas come from game jams. I mean, I think Celeste, if I remember rightly, was some like game jam or some very small Pico 8 project, I believe.
Yeah. Okay.
And obviously, Alien Scumbags was a 40-hour game jam. 3.5 years later.
The longest game jam. So our game jam needs to be 4 years long. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, that's be about right for me.
Awesome.
Do you know the thing that took so much time for with Alien Scumbags, like apart from just general life, was the fact that the game never had that lighting engine in it, and I learned about that lighting idea and how it works. So basically, it's like you just have a separate layer in essence, and then what you do is you put over that layer a big white block of color, what follows the whole screen around, and then whatever you put in that layer subtracts. So that white then becomes a black, and then whatever you put in it, then so it's really weird because you'll put like, I can't remember the exact thing here, but say for example you put a purple in, it'll actually turn out red. So weird. It's quite complicated when you're working out the colours, because what it's doing is doing a subtraction for itself to a different colour. So, but that's how you can make it darker and stuff like that, is just basically making it more white. But you don't see any of that.
So weird.
Because of how it's made. Yeah, it's weird.
Very weird.
But
it looks great.
But I was so fascinated.
That really adds a level of polish to the game. You know.
It's my favourite thing by far.
Yeah, it really adds. Like I say, because it's not just some generic sprites just walking through the level. You know, the fact that they have texture from the lighting going past them, it really makes it feel more immersive. I know, again, immersive in a pixel art game sounds weird, but you know what I mean.
No, I know, definitely, and a lot of people talk about the atmosphere in it because it is an atmospheric game, and there was a lot of ideas taken from Alien Isolation, which I was playing at the time when I started making it. So, hence the sort of hiding in lockers and things. I was like, I love that.
That's great.
Cool.
That's
and
a great mechanic.
The fact that Yeah, it's brilliant. And I also liked the fact that I was so scared when I was walking around in Alien Isolation, even when there wasn't anything there. And that's why stuff, it's just so scary. And so that's why I was like, oh, I'll put some screen shaking just for no reason. You're just walking around and there's bits of dust and then there's screen shake and little screams in the background. And that's like all of that, I think, makes it a really atmospheric game. It's kind of scary but funny at the same time. But I don't like the idea of calling it a comedy game because I haven't gone out and made jokes for it. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's like, but it's a fun game. It doesn't take itself seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
But I wouldn't like to call it a comedy game because I think that would kind of take away from what it actually is.
Yeah, exactly. It's a game with humor in it, isn't it? That's what it is. It's not.
Yeah,
like I said, because I say sometimes it sounds like you're devaluing it, saying it's a comedy game. Like, oh yeah, it's just a joke game, but it isn't. It's a serious game. It's got a leaderboard and everything, so it must be serious.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's like, I like to think it's like pretty scary for 8-bit pixels. You know?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you've got lots of monsters.
You know, I mean, I like to think there's a lot of nods to a lot of horror films in there. You know, right from the get-go when the guy gets pulled into the vent and stuff like that. It's like all of that. I like to show my love for horror as much as possible in it, as well as obviously all the other references to games and things.
Yeah. Well, you've done a great job. I think it's brilliant. Everybody should go and check it out. All the links, again, if you're listening to this audio, the links will be in the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, this replay will be up. So I will comment. I don't know if I can add the description. Yes, I can. I'll add in the description or as a comment links to all the games, links to James's social media, mainly Twitter because he lives on it, as he said.
It's true.
So yeah, check it out. Again, thank you, James.
That's probably that's all right.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
As I say, one thing that's probably worth a mention for indie developers as well is I'm actually building a list of trustworthy Steam curators because that's such a big thing to me. Been obviously releasing the first game on Steam, they give you 100 keys to send out via Steam Curator Direct, and that's all you get. And sometimes, you know, I got one and I sent it out, and I got a review called "I Am Batman." I was like, brilliant.
No.
Then I got another one. Yeah. And then I got another one saying probably trash, and I'm like,
what?
That's helpful. Yeah, so stuff like that, that's not helpful for indie developers. Yeah, it might be a bit of fun, but ultimately, if you look behind the fact that that guy's saying, I am Batman, what he's actually saying is, I'm taking your game for free, and it's now mine, and you're getting nothing in return.
Yeah.
And you've only got 100 keys, you know? So,
wow, that's interesting.
So technically, it's a joke, but it's not actually that funny when you look at it. Do you know what I mean? So, so what I've started doing is, I've been speaking to anyone that's covered my game and saying, look, do you want to come on board if you're a curator already, obviously? Do you want to be on this list? This is so that the community can see people who they can trust, where they know that if you do accept to have a key sent your way via Curator Connect, that they will take it and they will actually do something and review it, whether it be good or bad. I can't make any promises whether it's good or bad, but ultimately, all I want is honesty.
Yeah.
And if they don't like it, they don't like it. That's fine.
No, that's a great idea. That's a really good idea. I'll have to I'll keep in contact with you after that because maybe I can help you with that as well.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm doing some work. CSH Pickney is doing some content. He's doing his reviews and content. So and he's letting me use some of his content to do some videos, which is amazing of him. To cover some games.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So he is definitely one, a trustworthy one. Again, I don't know if you've come across him yet or not. So
he's already on my list.
There you go. Awesome. Cool.
I've pulled in about 10 or 11 so far. I definitely need more Steam curators on it because I want to make like a full community of curators where indies can trust them.
Yeah.
And, you know, so that people don't just go, what? Who am I meant to send these to?
Yeah, well, exactly.
They know.
It's a good idea. It's a really good idea.
Obviously, it's better for them.
And it's the same idea.
I think so.
Like I was saying about the publisher list, I'm trying to make a list of decent publishers that people have had experience with and have told me this is what they did, this is what I didn't like, whatever. I say, well, okay, well, they're obviously good guys. They sound like good guys. Let's keep a note of them. And again, you know, I've mentioned one or two here already. So in the long term, it's going to really pay off to have your list, a publisher list, and if they can be, let's just say 100 of each. If you've got 100 of each, that's going to be hell of a valuable couple of lists.
Oh yeah,
for everybody.
No, definitely. The thing is, Steam is not going to help you unless you're already successful.
Yeah.
So I think it would be great to have things out there, and plus, I've had loads of. I mean, they're not keys that have been stolen. I recently was told that actually they don't get a key; they just get access to your game. So it's not quite the same. But basically, with Curator Connect, via what you have to do via Steam.
Mm-hmm.
You only have 100 keys or 100 codes or whatever it may be, what you can send out. And when they're gone completely. And I know for a fact that I've had something like 25 people that have just took them. They've already accepted the codes and I've never heard anything from them. And I've emailed them and had no responses. And, if you don't want to review a game, don't accept it. Do you know what I mean? Look at the demo or look at the videos or whatever. But officially, they don't have to review your game if they accept it.
Oh, so there's no accountability.
Curator, you can not at all. If you're a curator, you can take whatever you want and you don't have to review anything.
That's terrible.
And so that was a big thing for me. And originally the idea, well, I think it's in the description actually, it's Steam curators but won't take your keys and run off with them or something like that. Because the whole point is that's what it's about. It's about not getting screwed over. I've been screwed over and I don't want to see anyone else getting screwed over for it either. You've only got a limited amount.
It's a really good idea. And again, it's going to be super valuable. And if you are a curator, then you need to be on this list because, like I said, we're going to be sharing it with everybody that we speak to. So if you're not on the list, then, ask yourself why. Why are you not on the list?
Exactly. And I'm testing all the people that are on the list are tested by me. So I can tell you if they're actually, curators you can trust because they'll review my game, good or bad. And then they get on the list after that. Because if they're not going to review my game, what's the point?
Yeah.
You can't tell if they're trustworthy or not.
No, of course.
So yeah, it's good for me, but ultimately I can then tell you from personal experience that they're trustworthy.
Brilliant. I love it. That's a great idea. Okay, well I think that is everything that we have. What I will say,
no problem.
we've been using the app called Guilded, which is my new favorite app at the minute. I've talked about them every day at the minute. We've been using Guilded to do this thing here. It's been spotless. I'm really impressed.
Good.
I like it.
Yeah. Discord was awful in comparison to this.
Yeah. So
when I've done these two-way calls.
Oh, well, I'm actually
really bad.
Next week, I actually have a couple of the Guilded people coming on the podcast. So keep an ear out for that. And I'm basically going to be doing a little bit of gushing, saying how cool it is. But still trying to look cool and ask them. I'm still going to ask them awkward questions. Don't worry.
Okay.
But I love the app. I think it's fantastic. If you haven't checked it out, it is an alternative to Discord. If you've got any problems with Discord, whatever, Guilded. It's just like Discord, but better. It honestly is better. I can't believe I'm saying that. The feature set is unbelievable.
It is, yeah, it's good. Yeah, I like it.
So check it out, everybody. Okay. Alien Scumbags from Monster Finger Games, and you are James. Thank you.
I am James. Wishlist it, and also don't forget there's a streamathon on the 8th of May.
Oh, yes.
That's a big deal.
Yes. Okay. Briefly touch on that. So what is the idea of a streamathon? Tell me.
Okay. The idea is that we're going to have each streamer play it for around about an hour, and then we're going to get as many hours live of Alien Scumbags across Twitch as possible.
Oh, okay.
So one person. Say that again.
No, I was saying okay. No, it's okay. I stopped. It didn't go funny. It was my fault.
All right, sorry.
I was like thinking. I was editing my voice live. Okay, so you just okay. I'm thinking about how it works. Okay, so the game's going to be jumping from streamer to streamer, but on Twitch they'll see that as a live stream for that game for a long time, won't they? Then It'll be active all over the
Yeah,
place.
because you can see, what's live, and the idea, and this is obviously it's not mandatory or anything because it's all voluntary, but what we hope is going to be the case. I'm doing this with Captain Oates because I spoke to him about it because he did a similar thing with Crooks Like Us.
Great game.
With them developers. And so I spoke to him and was like, I'd like to get involved in this. And he was like, yeah, great, let's do it. So that's what we're working on.
Okay.
And yeah, so the idea is ideally is that once someone stops streaming it, they will raid someone else who's going to stream it, and it'll continue like that.
Nice.
So that the streamers will also get more audience as well from different people, and also, possibly the audience will follow on along the whole thing.
Cool. That's a good idea. Well, again, if I'm not working, I'd love to be involved. I'll see what I don't know. I think I might be working. My shift pattern's weird, so but I'll let you know as soon as I can.
Sure. Well, we haven't started organising the times yet, yet anyway. So you're in the chat anyway. So yeah,
I am.
It's
awesome.
all good.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. It's been a great chat. I really appreciate it.
No, it's all good. It's been a pleasure.
Best of luck with the game. I can't wait to see what else you do.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, well, the final boss is coming along.
I don't think I'm ever going to see it.
I'm pretty tough for that.
I'm only ever going to see the screenshots. I don't think I'm ever getting there. My death rate.
You can do it.
Awesome. Okay, James. Cool. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for the questions in the chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Until next time, that is the end of the podcast.
Bye.
Now, I just need to press stop somewhere. Let's press stop on YouTube. It's amazing how many questions you sort of think of and things that pop up. And because again, I used to do a very, very rigid ask these 5 questions, but it never felt natural because you couldn't. The follow-ons wouldn't take you in the right direction, and I'm more of a conversationalist. I don't know if that's a word. It's not. Than I am.
Conversationalist.
Yeah, than I am.
I think it's kind of a word, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Conversation. Conversationalist. Are you sure?
If it isn't a word, it should be a word. Established 2021 in the Gamiacs.
Timestamp that, please, somebody. Cool, man. Yeah, thanks. I suppose I better stop the stream. I'll stop the stream, because then if everyone watches this back, they don't hear us just nattering crap at the end.
That's all good.
So let's stop that.